Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to work on the remaining pages like the account section where we'll track the order and also we'll create the admin panel. So let's first see the demo of the application, the pages that we are going to build in this video. So first when we land on the account section, so let's log in here. Now we log in the application, and when we go to account page, here we'll see now there are three tabs in our vertical. The profile, orders and settings. Also there is a link to manage the admin. Here we can see there is an option to add the new address. So these all things we are going to build in this video. Also when we click on the orders, we'll see the orders that we have placed, and these orders are fetching it from the DB by user. So for each user we'll display respective orders that the orders that user has placed, and here we can filter it. So there are options to see active, cancelled or completed orders. In the active orders, if we go to here, we'll see the items that have been added in the order, and there is a timeline also where we can track the order. Also there is an option to cancel the order. So if someone wants to cancel it, if we click on cancel, this order has been cancelled and it will be go to the cancelled state. So this all things we are going to create in this video, and also we have setting the logout option. Now when we click on the manage admin, it will open a admin panel where we'll able to see all the product details. Also here we can add or edit the product. So yeah, let's start it. Okay, now first we are going to build the account page where we'll track the order and update the addresses. So now if we go to the account section, here we need to first log in it inside the application. So let's give the credentials and we'll fill in the details, username and password. Let's sign in. Now if we go to the account page, at here we see account details and a logout button. Okay, so now we are going to change this page. Basically it will allow user to update the user info and add the addresses, also tracking the order. So let's go to the VS Code, and here inside the routes file we have a here account details. Let's find it here. So let's add here children. So in the children we'll add some more routes, like we need a path, profile, orders, and let's add here in the account we'll create one file, profile.js. Let's add a React component. So this is for the profile component, and here we do element protected route, profile. So now if we go to this route account details and profile, we'll see the profile section. So we are now see this page because we are routing it as a nested route. Now let's add here few tabs. Also in the navigation component, at here if we see there is a link which is the account icon that we are navigating, navigate it to the account details. So here let's put it account details / profile. So profile would be the default URL where it will land. Now let's go back to the account.js. First we'll log in inside the app. Also our server is running. Okay, so the application has been started, and now we'll try to log in it. So the member is logged in the application. Now if we go to the account page, we'll basically see an logout option. Once we click on logout, it will basically log out from the application. Now in the account, let's go back to the VS Code, and now here in the account page, uh, let's remove this button for now, or we can just comment it for time being. Now here basically we are going to create the tabs that will display in a vertical view. So let's say when we are coming to this page, first we'll fetch the user details. So let's just add here dispatch, use dispatch, constant, user info, use selector. Here we call select user info. So the first thing that we need to do is we have to load the user detail in the store. So in the feature at here in user.js, let's create a slice for the user. Now what we'll do here, let's simply just use this and copy this, and let's paste it here. And here we'll do and user info blank by default initial state, user slice, user slice. Now here basically we add a reducer to load the user details. So let's add here load user info, action.payload, and this load user info will export it from here, user slice.actions, user slice.reducer. And now in the store basically we'll put this user slice. So user reducer, from the features user, and let's add here user state, user reducer. Okay, so now in the account page at here we'll basically call use effect. So in the API folder we already have this fetch user detail to fetch the user info from the backend. Now we'll use this function at here. So first we'll call dispatch set loading true, then fetch user details dot then response catch. Here finally and here once we get the response will dispatch an action to the store. Let's dispatch here load user info response. And here let's add here user info dot email and here we do paragraph. Now here we'll show the user name, okay, on the top of the page. So let's add here hello first name, and let's add here class name, text large, font bold. Also here we need a select user info from the user feature from the user slice. So here let's add a method export constant select user info state dot user state dot user info. And this basically will use it at here user info. And here we do see the name of user. Let's add here Excel. Also let's add here paragraph welcome to your account. Now here we'll add a list, uh, the unordered list basically. Div, let's put here class name, medium flex, margin top, and here we add list class name. Here we put flex column. Let's put some style here, flex column, then width of 180 pixel. Oh, now here let's add a list item, and in the list item we'll put here link, account details, profile, and let's add here class name. So the class name, let's change the background to black, and also we'll put it the SVG at here This is the profile tab. Now we do need two more, so let's add here, and this would be the orders, and this is settings. And let's change the background to gray. So once the tab is inactive, then only will display the background black, otherwise it will be gray. So these are our three list items. Just put it the same class names, the same styles to over here, the below items. And now let's use these. This one will be the orders setting. So here I've changed the SVG icons for the order and settings. Now let's add here the div that we have added. So let's put here div class name, some padding, horizontal, text of width full, rounded. And now here let's put outlet. So the tabs that will switch on the account page, here we'll load the component. So let's say the outlet that we are using, so because the default URL is account details profile, and in the route file, that route we are basically referring to the profile page. Similarly at here, if we put it for the orders, let's put here orders, and in the account section for the pages, here let's add order.js. This is the order page. Let's put it orders. So in the route.js, these orders, let's import it. Now when we'll switch to the orders, will be see here order page. Also we need to change the color, the background color. Only we need to give it black when the tab is in active state. So let's go and we just need to copy the code from the navigation where we were using the active. So this is the here from the class name. Let's change this link to nav link. And here we'll check basically if the tab link is in active or is in inactive state. So we'll check here if it is it active. And here we'll do join. So if the link is active, we'll say background of black, and on on hover we'll say background gray 400, and if link is not active, we'll basically reverse the order, the class name. So we'll say background of gray, and on hover background black. And let's remove this from here. So basically we put it at here, the join, and let's give here rounded. Okay, this is rounded. Now if we'll change these to orders, now it is not more active, and but if we go this is an active. And now let's put all this class name to all these other links. So let's use here nav link. And if we go to orders, we see air order component. And if we go to the settings, we basically need to add one setting components. So at here in the accounts, let's add a file settings.js, and on the route, so in the route here we'll say if the path is settings element protected route settings. And also on the settings page, let's add that button, the button that we have added it earlier in the account page, and we don't need this anymore. And this one we'll put it in the settings. So let's remove this from here and we'll add it in the settings page. So once we click on the logout page, we'll basically log out from the application. So we'll Now let's add some more detail in the profile. In the profile section, basically we'll display the user details and the addresses. So let's add here my info, class name, and here we'll do check the user. Here we'll basically create a user info variable. This basically contain the state that we have stored it in the store. So we'll call use selector, select user details or select user info. So we don't need to call anymore the API to fetch the user details because we already saved it in the store, and that we can use it at here in the profile component. Also, let's add here one state constant is address add address set add address use state false, and basically we'll check here if not add address. So this add address will use there will be a button to add an address. Once we click on that button, will this basically display an address form. So if the link has not been clicked, we'll basically display here the user detail div class name flex gap of 2 contact details, and there will be a button for edit. Now here we'll put class name, and for the button let's add class name underline text blue, so this is the section for the contact details. Basically we'll display here all that user info, and there is an option to edit. Let's format this. Now here we'll display that details paragraph, full name, and here we'll display user info dot first name, user info dot last name, and let's put here class name text gray, padding of vertically 2. This is full name, and let's copy this and put it add here. So this will be an phone number, email, so this is the detail for the full name and phone number, email. If there is no phone number, we'll display here none, and let's put this bold font, bold. And on the bottom will this basically display the addresses. Also we can give a option the password, but password we can reset it from the login page, so I'm not giving here password option. And now here let's create one more div. This is basically for the addresses. Let's put this. Let's use here heading of 3, and let's change this to heading of 2, and this will be the heading 1. And we'll put it here flags. Let's put add here one more div. The same button, and this will be add new. You don't need to put it the margin. And here we'll display the addresses. So let's add here div. We'll put it class name, uh, padding top, grid colon 1. For the large devices, grid colon 4, and for the medium, let's put it grid column 3. Gap of 8, padding bottom. So here we'll basically iterate the address list, user info dot address list dot map address return. Let's add here class name, background gray, address dot name. This is the card for the addresses. So you're giving an option for the add new address, and also this is the card. So at here we'll displaying the name. Also we need to display other details like phone number and the address, and there will be an option in the card to edit and remove the address. So let's give all at here. This will be phone number, and we need to put it class name. Then here will be have an address. So for the address we'll use address dot street, address dot state. This will be an edit and remove. So yeah, this is the address card. We're displaying the name, phone number, and other details like the pin code and remove and edit option. Okay, so this is the card for the address. Now here we are going to add a new form. When we click on the add new address, that will open the address form. So let's add here new file, add address.js. In the profile page, so the state that we have added for the address. Now on the new add address button, when we click on the add address button, we'll basically set the state as set add address true, and at the in the bottom, uh, so at here after the div where we are completing this form, so here we'll add address and add address component. Also let's add here on cancel. Here we'll set the add address false. So when we click on the add address, it will open the page for adding the address, and then we will be have here cancel button. Once we cancel it, then it will open the profile tab. Okay, now in this component, first let's add a state that will basically use to manage the variable field values. Use state Here we needed name, phone number, street, city, state, and zip code. Okay, let's add one more state for the error. And here we have dispatch. Now this is the, here we'll add all the fields. So let's first add paragraph, add address, and here we'll give class name, text of Excel, padding top, here will be have form. In the form we need on submit. Let's add here on submit function, use callback. Let's define some width for the fields, and by default the width would be full. So here let's add label, full name, input type text, name, name, value, values dot name, on change, placeholder, contact name, let's add here class name. Now we will set width of full, border, required. Let's copy the on change handler function from this file, because that would be the same. We are setting the values in this state. So let's add it here. And also we do need two buttons. Also we need some more fields here, but let's add first the buttons. So we'll add here div, class name, flex, gap, button, cancel, on submit. There will be have on cancel. On cancel we are passing a function from the profile component, so that will be used here in the add address form at here. So we can then reset the form. sorry, we can change the component to profile component, and here let's give type button. So this would be a secondary button, and here we are giving border, uh, border of 2, and some color for the border gray. We will not give that background will define for the primary color. Round it. Also here we'll add one button for the submit. Let's give this as save, and this would be submit. So type submit we have defined. The when we click on the button, it will call that form submit. And here let's give a background of black. So here if we go to add, if we can click on cancel, here we need to give on click, and let's give text white because the background is black. So if we go to add new, here it will be a form for adding the address, and if we click on save, it will ask to complete the form first, and here if we click on cancel, it will revert to that, it will navigate to that profile component. So let's add here some more fields that we needed. Let's change this to padding of 2. So this is the field for the name. Let's add other fields that we require, like phone number. Also let's add the label for address, and here we need street values to street address, and here let's add a div. That div basically will add for the state and zip, city and state. So let's add class name flex gap of 4. Okay, here let's add 2 fields that we require. So just copying this field that we have added on the for the street address. So this would be city, and values dot city on change city. Also we do need one more field here. This would be for the state, okay. And also let's add here outside the div one field for the zip code. So if we click on add address, here we do have all that fields that we require. If we click on cancel, we'll go on the previous page for the profile component, and now here when we click on save, these all are the required fields. So now at here on the submit, now we have to implement on submit function. Before implementing the on submit function, let's add a method for the API to call the API in the user info.js file. So here let's add export constant add address API async and here we do have the data argument, the same URL, just slightly change here, need a method post API address, and this will be the same. Now when we call add address API from here, so first let's add here dispatch set loading true, set error blank, add address API. Here we'll set the values dot then this would be for the error. And here we'll set it the loader as true false. Now once we get the response from the add address API, that response will set it in the store. So when we set it in the store, our previous component will be re-rendered and it will display that address. So here in the store under feature user.js, here we'll have add one more function, save address, state action constant addresses equal to state dot user info dot address list addresses dot push action dot payload, and here we'll return state user info state dot user info, and then address list. Address list here will set it the addresses that we have newly generated, the item that we have pushed. So this would be our state that will return from this method, and let's expose this method at here. Now if we go to that address, so once we get the response from the address API, here we'll do set dispatch save address and response, then we do cancel here, this one on cancel. If there is an error, we'll set the error, set error. In the set error, let's set error here, address was not updated. Oh, it's not added. Just copy this same line at here. This would be for the error. Okay. Now if we go to click on add new address, here also we do need one more thing, like event dot prevent default. We are using here on cancel in the on change. Sorry, this we need to be changed to handle on change. That's why the form is resetting to the previous state. I think this is fine now. Let's try. Now if we click on save, it is saying address was not added. Let's see the error. So when we're clicking on save, we are getting course error. This is because we have not added that cross region on the controller. Let's add here cross region and restart the application. Okay, let's try now. So when we click on save, let's refresh this. Now if we click on save, we're still getting this error. API. Okay, body is required. Let's see. Yeah, we are not sending the body that we missed it at here. Okay, now the address has been added, so the API is working fine now. Let's add one more address, test user. Okay, so we are getting the blank addresses here, full name, phone number. We need to add here few dependencies. That's why it is not changing state. Now let's try now. So yeah, now we are able to add the address. Let's try to add one more address. Press user12. Yeah, now we are able to add the addresses. It was due to the dependencies that we are missing from the on submit function. So now this all addresses, right, that we have added, we will give a functionality to remove the address. So for removing the address, first we need an API. So let's add the API in the backend code. So here we'll add one method for the delete mapping. Delete address and path variable UUID. Let's call address service dot delete address. And here we'll return response, return new response entity http status dot okay. And here we'll call address repository dot delete by id. So let's restart this application. Now in the UI code under profile.js, here we have a function. So here we have a button to remove the address. So let's add a function here, constant on delete address. Just scroll back. Let's add here a dispatch. So here we'll call dispatch set loading true, set error. Let's add the error also. Okay, so we'll call just we need a now here we need a function to call that API. So we'll just use the same here and let's remove this from argument and delete address API. Delete. Let's call this delete address API in the profile delete address. Now in the delete address we need to send the ID. Let's add ID here. Okay, now when we call the delete address API and when we get the response 200, then we need to call the store action to update the addresses, basically to remove that address from the state. So let's add that function in the user. Here we do remove address state and action. Here we'll say return state user info state dot user info address list, and here we'll return the address list as state dot user info dot address list dot filter address dot id is not equal to action dot payload. And let's expose this method. So in the profile component we'll here dispatch remove address and id. Now this id will use it at here on click address dot id. So if we click on remove, the address has been removed. The same way, now we have deleted two addresses, and let's remove all that we not required. So yeah, the address delete API is also working, and we have integrated with the UI. Okay, so this is the profile page where we'll manage the details for the profile. Here you can also create a similar form and update the address details for the edit button for the edit. Now the next thing that we are going to do is the fetching the orders for this user from the backend and then display into the UI. So once we display that orders into the UI, then when we click on the order, we'll basically check the status